Zusammen begrüßen wir nun die Preisträgerinnen 2024. Der Baloise Kunstpreis 2024 geht an Tiffany Shah. Sie wird von der Galerie Felix Gaudlitz in Wien ausgestellt. Tiffany lässt uns mit ihrer Installation Video, die Sie nachher dann auch hoffentlich noch sehen werden auf ihrer Führung, auf unkonventionelle Weise das Thema Video erleben. Tiffany, congratulations to the Baloise Art Prize 2024. Please join us on stage. Der Baloise Kunstpreis geht überdies an Ahmed Omar. Er wird von der Galerie OSL Contemporary in Oslo ausgestellt. Ahmed, welcher aus zum Souvenir erstarrten Klischees freie, poetische wie auch spirituelle Formen schafft, welche sich gleich Gebetsperlen am Stand in 15 verschiedenen Posen formieren. Ich sehe gerade, Sie sehen es hier. Sie müssen mir gar nicht zuhören, Sie müssen nur die Augen aufmachen. Ahmed, welcome to the stage. Congratulations to the Baloise Art Prize 2024. Und damit übergebe ich das Wort an Thomas von Planter, respektive natürlich bekommen Sie noch Ihre... So that's the part which is not sustainable, but the rest we'll hope. You're welcome. So please take a seat.
Dear Tiffany, dear Ahmed, dear guest tonight, let me congratulate Tiffany and Ahmed for winning the 25th Baloise Art Prize at the Baloise Art 2024. I think this begs a round of applause. Congratulations. After a tough selection process, you convinced a strong panel of international experts with your artworks. And this seems well deserved. We are celebrating 25 years of the Baloise Art Prize, so it is a special anniversary with you as the winners. We are confident that today's prize will give a boost to your careers as artists. Former winners of the Baloise Art Prize have proven so. The Baloise Art team welcomes you on board and will support you with access to museums and to the art world at large. Together with your galleries, Felix Gaudlitz in Vienna and OSL Contemporary in Oslo, we are equipped to do so. We wish you best of luck and hope to see your art pieces in the future in many locations around this world. Thank you and congratulations.
Ich begrüße nun Uli Sick, welche in den nächsten 10 bis 12 Minuten die beiden Preisträgerinnen interviewen wird. Uli Sick ist wie angesprochen Mitglied dieser hochkarätigen Jury, wie auch Thomas von Planter schon angesprochen hat. Er ist langjähriger Kunstsammler und Mäzen, hat auch große Teile oder Jahre seines beruflichen Lebens im asiatischen Raum verbracht, insbesondere in China und schon in den 1970er Jahren angefangen, chinesische Gegenwartskunst zu sammeln. Herzlich willkommen, Uli Sick, und ich wünsche Ihnen viel Spaß.
Vielen Dank. Darf ich mich den Gratulationen an die Baloise anschließen? Dieser Kunstpreis hat so vielen Künstlern und auch so vielen Institutionen bereits geholfen. Mein Respekt, unser Respekt von der Jury. When we were in the booth looking at the video, first thing I noticed, we sat much longer than we would normally do as a jury. Why did we do that? We were amazed by this kind of effect you created through this canvas. The projection is on a canvas. It's not a flat canvas. It's what I would call a corrugated board form, wie ein Wellblech in German. And this creates this very interesting effect. I was really fascinated. It doesn't happen so often. I was really fascinated by this effect. So that's why we sat there for so long. What gave you this idea? How did you come about kind of discovering this technique?
My work is mostly in video and also in text form as well. I was kind of interested in video as a medium that is highly variable. I show in film festivals and cinemas, but actually when you take video into a context of art, it also changes and can also become an object. So exactly what you're talking about, I was interested in staging it against this curtain. And it's a little bit of a play on words of screen culture, because screen culture of cinema, and then also screen culture of the paravent, or the folding screen that is common to Chinese and Japanese art history or East Asian art history. So exactly this kind of distortion and effect and the interplay with video, I kind of came to it by accident once when I was in a cinema doing a test of a film, and they hadn't actually parted the curtains of the cinema yet, and so the projection was on the curtains. So I was kind of interested in that materiality coming to life in an art exhibition space.
Very special. You will all see it later. There is another thing about your booth. You have this work we just talked about. You have another video work. And then you have a book. And this book is also part of the booth and artwork. And I found this very interesting that you, as we understand, a visual artist first, you have this first way of thinking in images, like visual artists do. But then you move on and you think in words. And there is this assumption that, what you show as a visual image very often cannot be put in words, while what you do as a text maybe cannot put in an image. So how do these things relate in your work? What do they mean for you? When do you do what?
That's a great question. And sometimes I don't exactly know when do I do what, but it comes through the process of making. But a lot of my work actually is thinking about the essay form in an exploded way. The essay as also could be enlivened through an exhibition form, actually, but then there's also essay films. So I think that there's all this kind of interplay between these mediums and text that I'm interested in. My book, On and Off Screen Imaginaries, is a collection of 6 essays that was published by Primary Information, in which I write about cinema, but also the way in which the camera struggles to catch up to capturing history, and how history and events often evade and outpace the camera.
And you also reflect on that particular work in the book.
Correct. Yeah.
What is it that we haven't discovered by looking at your film that you would want to point out as text?
Yeah, I dive into the history of the filmmaker, which the work is actually an homage to, King Hu, who's an auteur of Taiwanese and Sinophone cinema. He made in the 1960s and 70s, he made canonical martial arts cinema. In fact, the kinds of editing that exist today would not exist without him for fighting scenes. And so I kind of write about his biography because he exiled from Beijing as a child, and in many ways, when he was making these films in the 60s and 70s, he was reconstructing scenes from his childhood to a place that he couldn't return to. So the book is really about, and the last chapter and the works are a kind of thinking through exilic cinema, a kind of cinema after place, a cinema after national cinemas.
Let's turn to Ahmed. your work, it's a fairly big installation, very elegant, and has a very own kind of radiation to me. You are from Sudan, and when we take this opportunity, just a slight excursion, maybe departing or starting with your work, tell us something about Sudan, why it's so difficult life in Sudan right now, and yeah, you can assume we are not knowledgeable about Sudan.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So usually what I do in my art practice is speaking about things that I have experienced both in Sudan and where I grew up in Saudi Arabia. And what made me aware of Sudan and the Sudanese situation is being abroad and being completely out of the context of the Sudanese life.
Maybe you let me add, you grew up in Sudan the first 20 years, and then you emigrated.
I grew up in Mecca for most of my childhood and teenage, and then moved back to Sudan. But my connection to Sudan was always the strongest, as I was not very happy in Saudi Arabia. And so after that, I moved to Europe, and the picture was clearer for me. And my connection to my ancestors, to the land, to our traditions got deeper and stronger. And what I have also noticed that through the time Sudan was very ignored by the media. It's really not mentioned, even though that we have the biggest human crisis on earth at the moment taking place in Sudan. We have, unfortunately, two crazy military people, the leader of the state military and a paramilitia that are fighting in the tops of the heads of the Sudanese people and killing everyone on their way. It goes to 8 million or 9 million people being displaced, more than 15,000 people killed, and a famine that is endangering the life of 8 million people. So I take my exhibitions as a chance to speak about my culture and to speak about my experiences with my culture, and also hopefully bringing some awareness to, it's sad to say, our existence, that hopefully the world would see that we exist and maybe sympathize and support us in our struggles towards democracy.
The work is very much or centers around prayer beads.
Yeah.
And I understand Sudan still has like a multicultural, multi-religious country. And can you connect us? Why are the prayer beads to that?
Yeah, Sudan is a huge country. It used to be, before the division between North and South, it used to be the 10th biggest country in the world. And with an incredible diversity that we have over 590 tribes that all have their cultures and their traditions and customs. And my exhibition deals with exactly how our spirituality influences our lives in general, and the use of prayer beads in counting prayers. We have the tradition as Sufi people of using prayer beads that has 1,000 beads, for instance. Whilst in my upbringing in Saudi Arabia, I've heard that it's a tradition that is heretic and it should be forbidden. And I was put in the situation of, who am I belonging to? Who am I? After also, like, the first thing that happens to you when you come to a country where you don't know the culture or you don't know anyone is an identity crisis. So I was questioning myself a lot, like, who am I and what part of my history that I want to be part of this legacy of continuing it and sharing it with the world. And the Glowing Phalanges exhibitions came out of this thought.
There is another part, but you may see it there. It's the ceiling.
Yeah.
On the ceiling of the whole installation is a text or a script. And I understand it's not legible, that script. No one can read it.
Yeah.
And it poses a question, of course, in our culture here, what's not in written, what's not legible doesn't exist. But say in that part of the world, things are conveyed, communicated over generations without script, in fact. Can you say something about that?
Yeah, the ceiling piece is a textile application or appliqué. It's a textile sewn in a textile. And the motif of it I found in an English colonialistic book. It describes very, like in a colonial way, who Sudanese are and their customs and traditions. And it's from the late 1800s. And what was interesting for me is that there was a display of insides of several amulets, and these amulets were described as spurious or fake because the person who made them is illiterate. And for us, Sudanese, spirituality has nothing to do with literacy. You can be spiritual and you can be illiterate. It's all about the intention that you put in what you do, and the intention that you put in the amulet that would give it the power. So it's really offensive that someone coming from a totally different culture, totally uninvited and not wanted, to try to devalue our culture or put it in standards according to their values. And it's true that as an Arabic speaker and reader, you cannot read any letter because it's true that this person is illiterate, but it holds an incredible power. A Sudanese person, when they see it, they know what it is. So I try to create this atmosphere where the audience can go inside an amulet and feel the energy of these amulets.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And we give the word back. Our time is up.
Okay. Thank you.